Hello. Just in time for me to sit down in my bed after class? Excellent. Hello, Gray. Can you let me know how the audio is? Sounds good? Perfect. Okay. Can I have a recap? I've missed too much of this. Okay. What do you remember? Like, where did you leave off? Ugh. Don't think I made it to any of this specific game stream. Okay, so basically this is Shion POV now, and it's a year before Keiichi, like Keiichi's timeline, right? So it's before Keiichi comes to Hinamizawa. Shion breaks out of the private school she was attending. Is it Crush Arc? Yes, 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 yes. It's Crush Arc. So she goes back to Okinomiya, and she's basically hiding out because the rest of her family doesn't really want her there. Um, and then let's see. She does meet Satoshi, and then she's kind of just living as Mion at the moment, and let's see. She was doing the baseball stuff, like the manager without being an actual manager thing, and now she is well, Satoshi disappeared. Like he quit the baseball team, and she hasn't seen him in a while. He's not like gone yet, but he's working, so he's not like showing up anywhere, and Shion's worried about him. Rena showed up, and she's telling Shion, "Is he gonna buy the bear plush?" Yeah, he wants to. And then Rena came and told Shion that Satoshi's been basically like haunted by Oyashiro-sama. Like Oyashiro-sama's been following him around and stuff. And she was like, "Oh, that actually happens? That's weird." But that's where we are right now. So Rena just explained to her like the curse of Oyashiro-sama, and like she's like, I was cursed by Oyashiro-sama, but I came back, so I'm fine now. But Satoshi wants to leave, so he's not fine. That's where we are. So I assume the Watanagashi festival is actually gonna be coming up soon, and then he'll disappear, and then stuff will happen. President, if you would. For a moment, I forgot that the class president was me. Uh, 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 all rise. It looks like you didn't get enough sleep. I know it's been very hot at night lately, but try to get as much sleep as you can. All right, everyone? Yes, ma'am! I'm not sure this place can be called a school, because there are so many different age groups. It's like a kindergarten and an elementary school blended together. Since I'd heard already about what this place was like, I didn't feel that uncomfortable. It wasn't too difficult to act like me on here. As Sis told me, Satoshi-kun looked exhausted. I said hi to him, but he ignored me. Since I knew what he'd been going through, his pain looked apparent to me. I was interested in another person in this classroom. Satoko, Satoshi-kun's little sister. Oh, she looked as worn out as Satoshi-kun, emotionless, like an abandoned doll. Everybody in this room was aware of their circumstances, but no one could do anything for them. So they just acted as though nothing was wrong. Mion will only let me have this one day. If I slacked off even a little bit, today would be over with quickly. I had to figure out what I should do in this limited time. I should probably talk to Satoshi-kun. About what? Anything goes. Cheer him up, sympathize with him, anything will do. More than anything, I just wanted to chat with him. However, Sis had told me. She said that Satoshi-kun didn't communicate much with her lately, and had distanced himself from her. I figured I shouldn't talk to him too casually. I wanted to, but maybe it was better to leave him alone. I needed to keep Sis's warnings in mind, but instead, I decided to ignore them. I looked for Satoshi-kun during lunch break. He was walking as if looking for a place where he could be alone. I caught him in the hallway. Satoshi-kun. He turned around, startled by my voice. His facial expression surprised me. He was scowling, clearly a sign of rejection. But I couldn't hesitate. I'd lose my only chance if I did. Hey, how are you? He gave me a look as if saying, "Do I look fine to you?" I never expected to see an expression like that on his face. I felt like my heart was being torn into pieces. As I looked down, he spoke to me. I felt a little glad, but the next thing he said changed that. Is there anything else? I'll get going if there isn't, because I want to be alone. Oh, okay. I guess you're tired from work. I'm sure you want some time to yourself. You're working today too, right? Where at? Sis had found several jobs for him. He worked at a few different places. He was helping out when necessary at any of the shops Mion introduced him to. As a result, he constantly had to do different tasks in a different environment almost every time. On top of that, he requested high-paying jobs from Mion because he wanted a large sum of money as soon as possible. In other words, he chose to mostly do manual labor. He was exhausted every day because he wasn't that physically strong. Does it matter? And shouldn't you know because you helped me get the job? Mion did help him get the job, yet Satoshi-kun didn't look thankful for that opportunity. This wasn't like him at all. It made me feel sad. You're right. Sorry. Is that all? He sounded so harsh. Why was he being like that? Would he ever stroke my head again? Dude, Shion is so weird. Why does she want to be petted so badly? That's whack. Oh. I couldn't help my tears. They flowed onto my cheeks. Satoshi-kun looked confused for a moment, but then he frowned again. Sorry. The coach said he wanted you to come back to practice. I told him I quit, so I won't be going back. But maybe it's a good idea to work out from time to time. You know? Not interested. I didn't know why he was being so hostile towards me. Why did he hate me so much? I was left bewildered. Why? How come? Because I'm busy with work. Isn't it obvious? No, I didn't mean that. Why do you hate me so much? Why don't you ask yourself? Ask myself? What? What did I do? I don't understand, Satoshi-kun. I couldn't control my emotions any longer. Streaks of tears ran down my cheeks. Oh, he angry. Satoshi-kun gave me a hateful glare and walked away without saying another word. I couldn't even stop him. If I tried, he'd hurt me again with another cutting remark. I couldn't bear that, so I just watched him walk away. I wiped my tears and went back to the classroom. I heard somebody crying from inside. What's going on? I looked around the room to see. It was Satoko. I saw her bento box on the floor. I asked one of her classmates what happened, and it seemed that Satoko had bumped into somebody's shoulder when she stood up to go wash the box out. Ew. True. That was all. But Satoko was crying as if afraid she was going to be chided badly. What happened was very minor. She could just pick up the bento box and things would be fine. It looked like the lid came a little loose, but it was definitely fixable. She didn't have to cry like that. Yet Satoko started begging through her tears. Help! Help me, Nini! Because of what happened with Satoshi-kun, I couldn't suppress my emotions very well. So instead, they exploded. I stormed up to Satoko while elbowing her classmates aside. I grabbed her by the head and threw her into the wall. Violence? Satoko screamed. She didn't seem to understand what had happened. She was shedding tears and shivering. She must be wondering why I did that. Do you know why I did that? Satoko cried for her brother's help again. And so, I grabbed her head and threw her again. Satoko stumbled and crashed into a desk. The desk fell and the contents of the drawer scattered about. Satoko didn't even stand up. She just crouched and trembled while looking up at me. Nini! Nini! If you weren't like that, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer. Don't you get it? That's what I wanted to say, but I was too angry to utter another word. I picked up a bunch of textbooks from the floor and threw them at her face. Cry as much as you want, but nothing's going to change. Why are you crying? Because you think somebody's going to help you? You don't have any idea what he has to go through to protect you, don't you? Do you understand that? Do you understand what you're doing? You shouldn't exist. Die if you don't want to suffer. Go frick yourself. Don't hurt Satoshi-kun. You deserve to die alone. You just deserve to die. Ma'am, this is a child, I know. And in a school, no less. There are people watching. Her desperate cries only increased my irritation. Stop crying! Don't call your brother for help. Stop it! If you weren't like that, if only you... I kept on throwing things at her. Satoko curled up to protect herself and cried even harder. At that point, a girl with long hair ran up and huddled over her. I knew who that was. Rika Furude, one of Satoko's only friends. Please don't hurt her. She's in a poor situation, so please don't hurt her. It doesn't matter how pathetic she is. She shouldn't rely on Satoshi-kun all the time. Stop spoiling her. Satoshi-kun has to suffer so much because of her. No, stop. Don't hurt her. Rika also became the target of my anger. She already verbally abused the child. Rika, you're a little late. She is. But now Rika's about to get bullied too. I'm trying to teach her something here. If you keep getting in the way, I'll crack your head open. I grabbed a chair and lifted it over my head. It wouldn't hurt only a little if I threw this thing at them. Rika tightly closed her eyes and covered Satoko with her body. I didn't care what the consequences would be. I didn't care if I hurt them. Brother, kids, I know. She's actually going to kill them. Stop! Mi-chan! Rena returned to the classroom and shouted at me. Then, Satoshi-kun rushed in while pushing Rena aside. Seeming to have grasped the situation immediately, he charged straight at me. Until my body had hit the locker, I didn't understand what had happened. There was a loud crashing noise. I'd left a dent in it. I crouched there in pain. If she gets depressed over this, she's so dumb. What does she think would happen? No, she doesn't deserve. She deserves this. She deserves to be sad, you know? She's literally, like, beating up an abused child. And a child that's trying to protect someone. Satoko! Are you alright? Nini! Nini! Satoko pushed Rika aside, jumped at her brother, and started crying again. What happened? Why were you treated like that? Why? I didn't do anything, but Miyasa, she suddenly... I also want to throw a chair at her, but like, don't let the demons win. True. Like, Satoko's annoying, but murder right here? That's a bit much. What's going on, Mion? Satoshi-kun shouted at me while clutching his sister. He looked fierce. What did Satoko do to deserve this? What did we do? Why do we always have to suffer like this? Why? Why? He released Satoko and rushed up to me, grabbing me by the neck. By the neck? You said that I should ask myself, didn't you? So, why don't you ask yourself? Be annoying, that's what you did. True. Ask what? I know you feel she's a burden on you. You always have to suffer because of her. You know that, right? If she were stronger, you wouldn't have to suffer. She's the one to blame. I don't believe what I said was wrong. But after hearing it, Satoshi-kun went berserk. What the heck do you know? Ow! Satoshi-kun grabbed my hair and threw me into the wall, just like I did to Satoko. However, I wasn't going to back down. I no longer had any control over my emotions at all. You spent so much time protecting her. They're fighting for real, for real. She'll never stop relying on you until you stop doing that. What the hell do you know about us? What the heck do you know? You persecuted our parents, and now it's us? That's the way of the Sonozaki family, huh? You tortured traitors for fun. Is it fun? Is it fun bullying us? Huh? Stop it! That was Rena's voice. She stepped in, looking as fierce as a demon. Satoshi-kun, please! Mii-chan doesn't have any bad intentions. She wanted to help you, but she just lost control a little. Okay? Dang, Rena can silence everyone. That's crazy. Power. Satoshi-kun looked like he wanted to say something back, but he chose not to. Yeah, don't defend Shion for this. Don't do it. She does not deserve. Best girl through and through. She is strong. You too, Mii-chan. I know how much you worry about Satoshi-kun, but you can't solve the problem like that. I think you understand, right? Since Satoshi-kun didn't say anything, I kept quiet too. Here, Satoko-chan. You don't have to cry just because you dropped your bento box, alright? Do you feel better now? Satoko, I'll pick up the bento for you. Rika started picking up the bento box while its owner continued to cry. Guys, can you help us clean up? The teacher will be back from the vegetable garden soon. This quarrel is over, so don't tell her about it, okay? You don't think she's gonna notice the dented locker? Such a simple fix that her friends could have done instead of her crying. True. The classmates looked at each other and nodded, then started picking up the stuff on the floor. Here, Satoshi-kun, Mii-chan, why don't you guys shake hands as a sign of reconciliation? There. Sorry. I didn't mean to do this. Tears started to roll down my cheeks again. Rena right now. I love it. I'm sorry, too. You have nothing to do with our family situation. I'm sorry.
Mi-chan, you should apologize to Satoko-chan now. Okay?
I was fine with apologizing to Satoshi-kun, but I didn't want to apologize to her. But the situation wouldn't be settled otherwise, so I reluctantly apologized. Satoko nodded, looking discouraged. After that, Rena let me go. My head ached, so I held it with both hands. What was that? What did I do? I didn't want to use this precious time to fight. Sis had warned me. Sis told me that I shouldn't talk to Satoshi-kun just like that. What did I come here for? I shouldn't have come here if I knew this was going to happen. Stupid. You're stupid, Shion. I was overcome by emotions because I was so worried about Satoshi-kun. When did things go wrong? Were they wrong from the beginning? I got into a fight with Satoshi-kun. This was totally the opposite of what I wanted. I regretted it. I hated myself for it. I couldn't blame myself enough. My world had been torn apart. I wished the sky would fall and kill me. Dang, Shion is so dramatic. Sis sounded both amazed and confused. You know, I'm busy with the festival preparations, but you certainly made things more complicated. Sorry. Sis tried to say something, but she stopped in the middle. After listening to a few complaints, I started telling her about everything that happened today. Sis had to pretend that the trouble I caused today was her responsibility, which must have been very taxing for her. So I won't get the chance to trade spots for a while? Hey, I think you should be more aware of the hassle I have to go through. Yeah, you're right. Sis had been sympathetic, but maybe I pushed her too far this time. Of course she'd be hesitant to trade spots, considering what I did today. The atmosphere felt awkward, so we were both silent for a while. If you were to get another chance, what would you do, Shion? That was a reasonable question. I wasn't prepared to answer, though. If I had a chance to go to the school... If I had a chance to go to the school once again and see Satoshi-kun, what would I do? Would I apologize to him about today? I don't think that would work. That might even upset him again, no matter how hard I tried. Okay, here's something that he was saying. It was the Sonozaki family who had been harassing his. It would only be natural for him to hold a grudge against us. But why was he only expressing that now? I've been a Sonozaki to him all along. Satoshi-kun stroked my head even though he knew that I was Mion Sonozaki. Sis, do you think that Satoshi-kun is holding a grudge against the Sonozaki family? I think so, yes. It was our family that initiated the persecution of the Hojo family, making them into scapegoats. Even after the dam conflict, it wasn't easy for the Hojo family to live in Hinamizawa. Given all of that, it's not surprising that Satoshi-kun hates us. The Sonozaki family, who put his family in a devastating situation. But why now? Why is he only expressing that grudge to us now? Why is this happening now? If he wanted to... If he had rejected me in the first place, I wouldn't have wanted to get close to him. My tears wet my cheeks. I didn't bother to wipe them. It's only natural for him to hold a grudge against the Sonozakis. There's nothing unusual about it. Rather, why has he been treating me like a friend? I knew how stupid this question was. I think it's because he was mature. I can't understand it. He'd been treating me as a friend because he was mature? But now that he'd become stressed mentally and physically, he's decided to reject me? No matter how hard I thought about it, I couldn't find anything to fault him with. If there were somebody to blame, it'd be somebody I'd never accused before. Why did the hag decide to persecute the Hojo family? Eh? Uh, um... It was his parents who supported the dam project, right? Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with it. Why was he included? Why? Mion couldn't say anything in return. Actually, it wasn't at all hard to guess the reason. The hag didn't give any specific order to harass the Hojo family. She just thought the Hojo family was getting in the way. The people around her noticed what was bothering her and took steps to get rid of it. Though, of course, she must have known how influential her own words were. She didn't just think it. She gave them what she must have known would be interpreted as an order. She's the one to blame for initiating the attack on the Hojo family. You said before that the Furude priest wasn't mature because he didn't cooperate, right? Is this the same scenario? The Hojo family wasn't mature because they didn't act in accordance with the other villagers. That's why the hag decided to punish them, isn't it? Mion couldn't say anything in return, meaning that my accusation was the truth. They already punished the Hojo couple. Feel free to bring them to the torture room in the garden and chop their fingers off or something. But leave Satoshi-kun alone. Satoshi-kun had nothing to do with this. What did he do to deserve this? Why is that so hard to read? What did he do wrong? Answer me. Answer me, Mion. Mion. Very well. Please take care of the matter. Goodbye. Mion suddenly changed her tone and hung up. She must have done that to escape from my questions. I was furious. I started redialing the number, but then I remembered that we decided she'd hang up the phone after using that phrase when she saw the hag coming. I doubted she actually saw the hag, but it was the rule, so I couldn't call back for a while. I went to the bathroom to wash my face and cool down. I turned the faucet. The water felt lukewarm. It didn't help me cool down at all. I'm disgusted by my own childishness. I just wanted to fill my void. I didn't care about him. Considering that, Satoshi-kun was very generous. But I don't know if I can forgive Satoko. That's a different story. Notebook page 26. I was looking up at the ceiling with my arms and legs spread out. It's not that I wasn't getting hungry. I didn't live with my parents. I didn't live in the school dorm. That meant I had to cook something myself when I wanted to eat. I knew that, but I still didn't feel like getting up. It had been several days since I began this empty life. It must be tomorrow. The Watanagashi festival, I mean. I heard the doorbell ringing. I ignored it at first, but it rung persistently. I started hearing knocking alongside Kasai's rude voice. Shion-san, please open up. I brought some food for you. I didn't ask him to. He must have known that I hadn't eaten enough and that I'd been feeling down lately. You haven't eaten, have you? No, I'm not hungry. But when Kasai put the food on the table, my stomach reacted in a very primitive way by making some noise. Your stomach is growling. I believe you need to eat. I was hungry, but I had no appetite. I mean, I did have an appetite, but I didn't have the energy to eat. Yet I'd feel bad wasting the food Kasai had brought. I picked up my chopsticks just to humor him. I thought you were marked by Grandma. Is it okay for you to be here? Oryo-san is busy with the festival preparation meetings. She doesn't seem to have time to deal with you right now. Didn't you like croquettes?
They're good. Thanks.
While I nibbled on the food, Kasai read through the magazines I bought. Have you, I'd never talked to Kasai about something like this before. Since I've always believed myself superior to him psychologically, I hesitated to show my weaknesses to him. How rude! That kind of hardship is healthy for your age. Hey, do you know about that? Mion-san told me a little about it. She said she wanted me to assist you.
She did she?
Tch. She looked worried. Your sister's looking out for you. Without responding, I threw the last croquette in my mouth. I thought you might want to know how Satoshi Hojo-kun is doing. I've gathered some information. Would you like me to report?
That's not necessary. But since you went through all the trouble, I think I'd better listen.
Kasai chuckled, but stopped quickly as if thinking it rude. It seems that Teppei Hojo fled the premises. He seems to be staying with an intimate lady friend in Okinomiya.
Teppei? Who's that? Oh, Satoshi-kun's uncle, huh?
Their aunt, Tamae Hojo, Satoshi, and Satoko are the only ones living in the house now. Ever since Tamae learned that Teppei had fled to another woman, she's been in a foul mood.
So that must mean that the aunt is being even nastier to Satoko, and Satoshi-kun is taking even more indirect blows.
I don't know about Satoshi-kun, but I heard that Satoko-san is in a bad state. The neighbors are spreading rumors about her.
If Satoko looks miserable, that means Satoshi-kun must be going through equally miserable torture. Can't you do something about that aunt? Doesn't anybody talk about punishing her? She's also one of the remaining Hojos, after all. The uncle is gone, so why not the aunt?
The main Sonozaki family ruled against further harassment toward the Hojo family after the death of the couple. They say the police still might be staking out their house due to suspicions about the couple's death.
Their deaths have been filed under Oyashiro-sama's curse. So the Sonozaki family thinks no further divine intervention is necessary?
Kasai put on a faint smile.
Come to think of it, it is hard not to suspect the involvement of the Sonozaki family in all the incidents said to be Oyashiro-sama's curse. Somebody strives to get rid of the hag's concerns on the day of the Watanagashi festival. Furthermore, the Watanagashi festival is going to be held tomorrow. Will the curse strike again this year? If so, who will be the victim? Now that I think about it, there were cases of multiple victims in the past. The first and third year, it was just one, but the second year, the victims were a couple. So it wouldn't be too strange if 2 people fell victim this year. It seems like a good time. It'd be best for Satoko and her aunt to be the victims. Evil! Satoshi-kun would be freed from every source of his worries all at once. Kasai, do you know if this year's victim has been selected already? Does Grandma make the decision? If so, Sis should know about it by now. Kasai, do you know anything?
Shion-san, I don't know anything about that matter.
Well, that makes sense. That kind of secret won't make its way to you because you're just a small fry.
That's true. I've never received any information regarding that from my connections. But as you know, the Sonozaki family has access to many underground organizations, which I have no channels into.
Maybe I could try asking Sis about it. But she won't talk. She's strict about keeping promises, unlike me. If the hag told her to keep a secret, she'd take it to her grave. Dang. I hope Satoko and her aunt will go missing this year. Hey, Kasai, I just thought of that. Aren't you going to do something about it?
Shion-san, you must be joking.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I took a glimpse at Kasai. It didn't look like he was actually going to do something to make my wish come true. I wasn't able to go to the village as myself, so I definitely wasn't going to the festival. I didn't care about that. Even so, I was interested in who was going to end up as the victim of the curse. If I just kept lying on this couch playing hooky, somebody would fall victim in several hours. I had no clue why it had to happen every year, but I was certain that the hag was behind it. All the enemies from the dam conflict had been punished. Only the Hojo couple was left, since most of the other enemies had already gone. The cicadas were crying loudly outside. It made me feel hot. Why was it this hot and humid in June? If Oyashiro-sama was actually punishing people, I'd pray for one thing. I'd pray that the evil ant would be punished, and I'd offer up Satoko as a sacrifice. Ha! It's hot. Are we sure Shion is not the one with the demon in her? She seems more evil than Mion. When I woke up, Kasai had already gone. Looks like he cleaned the table in the surrounding room. He put my dirty laundry in the hamper in the front of the washing machine, too. Being a girl of a sensitive age, I didn't want a man to clean my room. Well, I'd rather thank him than badmouth him. I looked at the clock. It was late afternoon. I had to go grocery shopping. There was nothing left in the fridge, and I'd be having just rice for dinner if I didn't go. At that moment, the phone rang. It must be Kasai, I thought. I did hope it was him. He could have brought more food, so then I wouldn't have to go shopping. While I was just being lazy. I didn't feel like going out at all. But it wasn't Kasai on the phone. Sis, where are you calling from? The house? No. I'm calling from a payphone, so I'll make it quick. Satoshi called me. Satoshi-kun did? He called you? It probably wasn't me he wanted. He called you, I think. It sounded like he wanted to apologize for what happened the other day. So I thought you should take the call. I told him that I'd call back because I was busy. So, can you call this number? Okay. I was stunned for a second, but then recovered and wrote down the number on the back of a magazine. Thanks. I'll call right away. Good. He's been extremely stressed these days. I don't think he'll listen to me anymore, but I think he'll listen to you. She could have pretended to be me and handled this call, but she passed it over to me. Thanks, Mion. See you, Shion. Before she hung up, I put the handset down. Then, after a second, I dialed the number in a flash. I heard the dial tone 3 times, 4 times, and there he was. Hojo residence. He sounded like an adult. His voice sounded a bit tired, too, but it definitely was the voice I loved. I got scared. I was scared that he might become sulky again if I mentioned my name. I couldn't open my mouth for a while. Is that you, Satoshi-kun? Oh, sorry that I called you so suddenly. Are you okay now? That was the Satoshi-kun I knew. He didn't sound cold like the other day. Yes, I'm okay now. Good. After that, he went silent. I felt the urge to start a conversation. It wasn't fair. He was the one who called in the first place. Then, he finally spoke. I'm truly sorry for what happened the other day. I'm sorry too. You don't have to apologize, because I was the one in the wrong. I don't know, Satoshi. She kind of beat up your little sister. That sounds wrong to me, but okay. If this were a face-to-face conversation, he would be stroking my head. It was sad just talking to him over the phone. I won't forgive the people who forced us into this situation. You might be close to them, but it was never you personally. So I wanted to apologize. No, please don't apologize. I was selfish and didn't try to understand your situation very well. We apologized to each other a few times. Satoshi kun, are you alright? You're working and you're under a lot of stress. Isn't that too much to handle? I quit my job, since I have enough money now. You did? That's good. You don't have to push yourself anymore then. That's really good. Satoshi-kun tried to say something, but he dropped it instead. Satoko has it far worse than me. Seems like it. Is she alright? Does she look alright to you? He suddenly sounded upset. I'd messed up. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was so stupid. I had ruined this miraculous conversation with him. Satoshi-kun didn't respond to my apology, so I stopped apologizing. She's been hurt so much it's clear to see. She's so torn up, and everybody abandoned her. Everybody did. I didn't... I tried to calm him down. I hated what I just said because of how hollow it sounded. I had no idea what to say next. I felt guilty. Satoshi-kun was desperate to protect Satoko from their evil aunt. But I'd wished that Satoko would die tomorrow because of the curse. I was trampling on his desperate hope. Satoko can't take it anymore, so... He cut himself off in the middle, and went quiet for a moment. He must have been choosing his words carefully. Then he finally spoke. His words sounded hollow. I mean, I want her to have fun for one night. Eh? What do you mean? The Watanagashi festival is tomorrow, isn't it? I want you to take her there. Yeah, I could do that, but why? She's exhausted, so I think she'd be happy if she could get away from our aunt even just one night. But why? Why? It's not that I didn't understand why he wanted her taken to the festival. What I didn't understand is why he was asking me to do that. Was there any reason he couldn't take her there himself? I had a hunch he might disappear, so I kept asking. What do you mean, why? Why don't you take her yourself? He fell silent. Satoshi-kun isn't good at lying or keeping secrets. It was clear that he wanted to hide something. I just have some stuff that I need to take care of with my work tomorrow, so I can't go to the festival. He was lying, but he was also stubborn. He wouldn't admit it if I accused him. Mion, can you take her there tomorrow? I wouldn't want to look after Satoko, even at Satoshi-kun's request. But I'm also glad that he's relying on me. I know it's ridiculous to ask for your help after that incident, but you're the only person I can turn to now. I didn't know what to say. I did know, though, that I wasn't going to turn down his request. Okay, but just for tomorrow, all right? I hope you'll keep looking after her. What are you saying? I won't do that. Just for tomorrow. He sounded as if he were going to disappear tomorrow. I didn't like the sound of that, so I intentionally sounded sulky. We talked about trivial stuff for just a little while. When the conversation was almost over, Satoshi-kun asked something else. Hey, Mion, I really hate asking this since you might think I'm crazy for saying it, but... What? You... don't believe in it, right? Believe in what? In Oyashiro-sama's curse. What are you talking about, Satoshi-kun? Those who abandon the village and try to run away get cursed by Oyashiro-sama, right? That's the rule. Every kid in the village knows that. That's the rule. What's with that suddenly? Are you planning to leave? Though I was kidding, I wanted him to deny it. I'm not thinking about that anymore. He admitted that he had thought of it. I guess Rena told me that much. Let him vanish, he's about to. That's good. So you're not leaving the village? No, but I haven't been forgiven yet. Eh? Satoshi-kun tried to say something, but hesitated. He was breathing so heavily. Was he sick? Hey, do you feel all right, Satoshi-kun? Uh, sorry. I'm fine. I guess you're tired. I think you should get some rest. He sounded distinctly more sickly from when this conversation had started. He breathed heavily when punctuating his words. Satoshi-kun repeated his question. Mion, I'll ask you one more time. Do you believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse? What did he want me to say? Could I make him feel relieved with my answer? How should I respond? The answer was simple. There is no curse. There can't possibly be. I didn't know what was bothering him, but I wanted to make him feel better by laughing his worries away. But Satoshi-kun instead fell silent. Would my answer make him happy? Or maybe sad? I couldn't tell. One thing was certain. I didn't make him feel any better. Sorry that I asked such a weird question. Sorry. I felt like I let him down, so I apologized in a rush. Whether it's a real curse or somebody's conspiracy, I won't disappear, and I won't fall victim to it. You won't disappear? No. Not until I buy that teddy bear. I'll get the money pretty soon. I won't go anywhere until then. He chuckled. I knew he was trying to relieve me, but it worked the opposite way. He sounded as though he didn't care what would happen after he bought the teddy bear. Oh, my aunt is home. I have to go. Oh, okay. Mion. Huh? Even though he wanted to hang up the phone because of his aunt coming back. Satoshi-kun took a breath to tell me something important. I'll leave Satoko to you. I should have said yes right away, but I still couldn't forgive Satoko, so I just kept quiet. Forget what I said. Bye. Oh, he was obviously disappointed. What had I done? I wanted to apologize. I wished I could, but it was too late. The dial tone left no doubt. Now that was depressing. Aha! View new tips. Torn diary. Somebody whispered to me from behind. Such short chapters, I know they're really short. They told me that I was going to be the victim of the curse this year. So I'm going to disappear soon. There will be nobody left to take care of Satoko. Somebody whispered to me from behind. They told me that I don't have much time. That I won't stay as myself for much longer. So I had to make the best of the days I had left. What could I leave for Satoko? She wanted that huge teddy bear. She wanted a peaceful life in which nobody would bully her. I whispered to the person at my back. Bestow your violent nature and formidable strength upon me. I want your peaceful mind filled with hatred. It's so short.